Hi, welcome to Storytime with Gigi. Today we're going to be reading another story from our Disney Friendship Stories, A Treasury of Tales. And our story today is from The Rescuers, A Friend in Need. Oh, I love this story. The mice of the Rescue Aid Society were holding a special meeting at their headquarters in New York. Some of the members had found a note asking for help from a little girl named Penny. "Oh, that poor little girl," cried Miss Bianca. "Mr. Chairman, please, may I have this assignment? The society often sent its mice on rescue missions." The chairman was reluctant to let the elegant mouse go by herself, so Miss Bianca chose a co-agent, Mr. Bernard, the janitor. But he wasn't sure he wanted to go. "We'll be a great team," Miss Bianca insisted. She was so charming that Bernard agreed. That night, the pair set off for the orphanage named in Penny's note. When they arrived at the orphanage, the mice climbed through a window and began to look around for clues. Soon they noticed a cat peering down at them. The mice panicked, but the cat was old and friendly. His name was Rufus, and he loved Penny. He told them how she had been sad lately because no one wanted to adopt her. The cat had reassured her that one day she would have parents of her own. But the next thing I heard, Penny was gone. Rufus continued. He explained that no one knew where she was, and that even the police had given up looking. Then the cat remembered something. A lady who ran a pawn shop had tried to give Penny a ride in her car. As the mice left to investigate, Rufus wondered how they would be able to help Penny. They were so small, after all. Moments later, Bernard and Bianca slipped inside Medusa's pawn shop and spotted a schoolbook lying on a counter. They looked inside and saw Penny's name. "Then she's got to be here," Bernard said. Before they could search for her, the phone rang. The mice scrambled into hiding as Medusa stormed into the room. "You blundering fool," she snarled into the phone. "Can't you control a little girl? I'm taking the next flight down to Devil's Bayou." Medusa hurled clothes and, without realizing it, Bernard into a suitcase. Bianca grabbed onto a strap that was hanging from the suitcase as Medusa left. There she is. Soon they were all in a car headed for the airport. Bianca scurried over to the suitcase, opened it, and hopped in. But Medusa drove like a mad woman. When she made a fast turn, the suitcase bounced out of the car, taking the two mice with it. Bernard and Bianca walked the rest of the way to the airport, then headed for the Albatross Airlines terminal. As they sat in the ramshackle office, they watched as their pilot, Captain Orville, came in for a crash landing. "Maybe we'd better take the train," suggested Bernard nervously. But Bianca couldn't wait to be soaring above the clouds on the Albatross's back. When Orville was ready, they boarded and took off. They flew over the city and then down the coastline toward bayou country. From what Medusa had said on the phone, Bernard and Bianca felt sure they would find Penny down there. Day turned to night, and Bernard's jumpiness finally turned into contentment as Bianca put her head on his shoulder and fell fast asleep. In the bayou, Medusa and her partner, Snoops, were searching the swamp for Penny, who had run away. A giant diamond called the Devil's Eye was hidden in a nearby cave, and Medusa wasn't small enough to fit inside and search for it. That's why she'd kidnapped Penny, and why she had to find her. The villains shot a flare to light up the night and hit Orville as he flew by. "My rudder's on fire! Bail out!" yelled the Albatross. Bernard and Bianca used their umbrella as a parachute, and Orville steered himself toward the water. Luckily, the three travelers landed safely outside the house of Orville's friends, Ellie Mae and Luke. The swamp creatures immediately summoned Evenrude, the dragonfly, to help rescue Penny. The tiny creature had the fastest leaf boat on the bayou. Bernard and Bianca stepped into the tiny craft, and within minutes the speedy insect was motoring them through the swamp. Meanwhile, Medusa's pet crocodiles, Brutus and Nero, had found Penny and brought her back to the criminals' riverboat hideout. "You'd better behave or I'll let Nero and Brutus have your old teddy bear," threatened Snoops. Bernard and Bianca arrived just in time to hear Medusa tell Snoops she was going to send Penny down into the cave again. Before the pair could reach Penny, the crocodiles began to chase them, and soon Snoops and Medusa were after the mice, too. They summoned Evenrude and were able to get back to the swamp safely. There, they wondered what to do next. "Maybe Rufus was right," said Bernard. "What can two little mice do?" "But Bernard, the society is counting on us," Bianca declared. "We can't quit now." Later that night, the determined mice returned to the hideout and located Penny. They told her they'd found the message she'd sent and come to rescue her. "Didn't you bring somebody big with you?" Penny asked. "The three of us need to work together and have a little faith," said Bianca. "Rufus said faith makes things turn out right," Penny agreed. Penny and the mice sent Evenrude to get help from Ellie Mae and the other swamp critters. Then, when Medusa came to take Penny back to the cave, the mice hid inside the little girl's pocket. No matter what happened next, Penny would not be alone. Bernard and Bianca would be with her every step of the way. Medusa and Snoops lowered Penny through the cave's small opening. "You get down there and find that big diamond, or you will never see your Teddy again," the evil woman exclaimed. Once they were inside the cave, Bernard and Bianca popped out of Penny's pocket to help her search for the gem. They found it inside a skull, but it was wedged too tightly for Penny to move. As she struggled to free the diamond, the little girl noticed that the water inside the cave was starting to rise. "Please pull me up," Penny called to Medusa. "Not until you get the diamond," Medusa threatened. Bianca and Bernard knew their only hope was to use teamwork. The girl pried the jewel loose with the two mice, while the two mice pushed it out of the skull. They had the diamond. Just then, water gushed into the cave, and Bernard and Bianca got caught in a whirlpool. Penny swam to her friends. Once she had placed them safely in a bucket, she climbed in too. "I've got the diamond," the girl yelled to Snoops and Medusa. The villains hoisted them up. "The devil's eye!" Medusa cried joyfully. "It's mine, all mine!" A few minutes later, Penny asked Medusa to return her teddy bear. But Medusa clutched the bear tightly. "Teddy goes with me, dear," she informed Penny as she backed through the doorway. Luckily, Bernard and Bianca had already sprung into action. They tripped Medusa and the teddy bear flew into the air. When Penny rescued him, she discovered that Medusa had hidden the diamond inside of him for safekeeping. All at once, Evenrude and the other swamp creatures appeared. They trapped the crocodiles, smacked Medusa on the head with a rolling pin, and ignited some fireworks. While Medusa and Snoops dodged rockets, Penny jumped into the villain's swampmobile. The boat wouldn't start, but Ellie Mae found some fuel and filled the tank. Penny sped away, Bernard, Bianca, teddy bear, and all. Medusa wasn't going to let her diamond get away that easily, though. She jumped from her sinking riverboat and grabbed onto a rope that was hanging from the back of the swampmobile. The evil woman felt certain victory was hers until the rope broke and launched her into the riverboat's smokestack. "We did it!" cried Bernard and Bianca. "Hooray!" "There goes my diamond," Medusa wailed. But that was the least of her problems. Crocodiles were snapping at her from the water below. A few days later, the mice of the Rescue Aid Society gathered in front of a television to watch Penny on the news. The diamond had been given to a museum and Penny had been adopted. I didn't do it all by myself, Penny announced. 2 little mice from the Rescue Aid Society helped me. Bernard and Bianca were overjoyed. Their friend was safe and happy. Moments later, Evenroot arrived with a note from a stranger asking for help. Come on, said Bianca to Bernard, let's go. They knew another new friend was just a rescue mission away. And that's our story. I hope you liked it. Make sure that you like and subscribe and share with your friends. Bye until next time.